It is a great day to be in real estate. Welcome everybody to episode 36 of the Relo Show. I am one of the fabulous hosts here. I am Sean Richard. With me today, as always, I've got the one, the only Mark Sullivan, aka Sully, and then I also have Candido Diaz, the beast from the East, at Candid Mortgage Guy. Candido, Mark, what's up, fellas? How you guys doing today?
What is happening? New
Awesome.
New week.
Yeah. Hey,
New
we're
week.
here for another episode. We made it over half a year. We're almost we're coming in on a year pretty fast here.
We're on episode 36. This is unbelievable.
Like
we're going to get to episode 52. We're going to get to look back. We're going to have to do something special to commemorate the 1 year mark. But I'm excited to be here with you guys. As always on Tuesdays, just three regular guys in the lending space talking about real estate, talking about business, talking about life, maybe making fun of each other a little bit. You know, we do it all. So we also hold each other accountable, which is kind of how all this got kickstarted. So guys, why don't we start with like what we always do with wins and losses for the week. Candido, why don't you tell us a little bit about your wins and losses this past week, man?
Yeah. So honestly, not a ton of losses, I would say. Applications have been a little bit slow coming in, but you know, I can't necessarily control that. What I can control are my actions to try and bring those in, which I feel like might be a preview of what may be to come. But you know, as far as wins, today's been a huge win. It's I had a closing, had a meeting with a new realtor. I got a couple of brand new leads who will be filling out applications. So we're off to a great start today. So how about you guys? Mark, why don't you go next?
Yeah. Honestly, my win is I've been working with a few other professionals, some LOs, but some divorce attorneys and insurance people to work on a partnership to start marketing into the divorce niche, something that I've wanted to break into for a long time. No crazy details yet, but I'm absolutely in love with our game plan, and it's really come together over the last couple weeks, and we're really going to go full force into it with a webinar that's going to take place in 2 weeks. I'm super excited about it. Finally getting that off the ground is a massive win for me. Loss is honestly a lot of my lead generation stuff. This past week, I felt myself just kind of going through the motions. You know, I know we've talked about this on previous calls where you're just doing what you're supposed to do, right? You're making your calls, you're making your posts, but there's no actually oomph behind it, right? There's no actual. You're just making the call to say that you made a call, and shockingly, it really didn't give me any positive results last week because that's exactly what I was doing. And I realized I was doing it. I made some more positive calls, you know, on Friday and on Monday, but that doesn't erase the loss. Going through the motions is bad, and was certainly not controlling what I could control in that environment. So let's call that a timely loss for sure.
Totally. Well, guys, my shitty moment of the week here. There we go. This guy's always happy. I don't know why he's always happy for my failures. But my loss for the week is I had a client that was out shopping and found a new build home. And you guys know where this is going. The builder incentives were pretty insurmountable. They had $32,500 in incentives tied to using their lender. And so this was my loss. I lost this client. It was a sizable loan. I built a great relationship with the client. The client actively told me that they would prefer to use me, but they really couldn't pass up that level of incentives. And I totally get that. Now, flip that to my win. was actually the same conversation. So, the old me would have taken that and would have said, gotten frustrated, got upset, man, like I can't win. The new me, and I say new, last several years, I look at that as an opportunity to further that client relationship. So what I did then was I said, hey, tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and give you the same post-closing tools, resources, and treatment that I give to the clients that close with me. I want to make sure that I'm your guy for every other transaction that you do. So I use a system called HomeBot, which is a past client tool that gives them a ton of great resources about their home. Told him I was going to go ahead and set him up with that. And I'm also going to record a short congratulations video and send it to him the morning of closing, because we know he's not going to get one from the builder's lenders. So I turned that loss into what will likely be a win, because he's already said, yeah, Sean, you're my guy when we go to refinance. And he's going to be a great referral source for me as a past client. So that was my win for the week, guys.
I love it. And, just for reference, I feel like there was a Taylor Swift song somewhere in there with, the old you, now the new you. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. That's
not a Swiftie. I don't know that I could comment on that. Well, guys, this week I love this topic that we're talking about this week. And this absolutely applies to whether you're a loan officer tuning into us, whether you're a real estate agent checking us out. This absolutely applies to you. And we're talking about the things that we control in our business. It's really, and you guys can chime in here, it's really easy for me to get so caught up on the aspects of my business that I actually don't have a single bit of control over. And I start focusing and getting incessant on those instead of taking a step back and really putting my time, energy, and effort into the actions and the thoughts that are going to drive my business forward. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think you gave an excellent example. I mean, you can't control that a client wants a new build and the builder has $30,000+ in incentives, but you could control how you react. You could control, okay, you know what? You left it in a good spot. How can you try and get referrals from this client? How do you make them a future client? So I think you actually gave a perfect example of how you can take something that's out of your control and put it in something that, where you're back in control and driving the ship.
Well, and that's really what I want to dive into today. And we talked about this, but controlling the controllables. What in our businesses do we actively have control over, where we can take proactive action? So Mark, why don't share some of your thoughts on on controlling the controllables and maybe some things that you do daily, weekly within your business to focus on the activities that you have actual influence over.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, for me, it is definitely a combination of both when we're breaching this subject, right? It's control what you can control, but don't try to control what you can't control from a mindset purpose in our business. I'll touch on that real quick and kind of go back into the former, but as loan officers and real estate agents, there's so many parts of the process that we have absolutely no control over, right? And we let that stress get down in us, right? If there's a file that has some problems, or some problems that have popped up, newer loan officers, heck, older loan officers, but definitely newer loan officers will stress and lose sleep and be constantly thinking about this file. But that's not helping you, right? At 11 o'clock at night, there's absolutely nothing you can control. So go to sleep. There's nothing you can do about it at 11 o'clock at night or 2 o'clock in the morning, right? Just focus on what you can control and don't worry about the rest. I think needs to be brought up when we're talking about control the controllables topic. But what it also
give us a specific example of something that might pop up that's kind of common in our industry that aligns with that, Mark.
Sure. And I think the one that plagues most LOs, and I'll say real estate agents as well, is when we think we're right and an underwriter thinks a different way, right? And we've already maybe it needed to be escalated or something like that. But us being right, the file being approved is dependent on us being right, right? And if you if we're not, the file's dead. But there's nothing we can do about it. After we've made our argument, we're waiting, right? You're waiting for 2 days, you're waiting for 3 days, sometimes depending on the company you work for. But you're definitely waiting overnight for an answer from higher up, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. If you stay up all night worrying about it, you're going to be absolutely worthless the next day. You're not going to do. You're not going to get anything done trying to attract new business. Your brain's going to be slow trying to help that file that you're stressing out about. It all compounds, and that's why, honestly, that is the route that why most loan officers go from 10 loans in their pipe to 0, 10 loans in their pipe to 0. It's because they're busy, they're focused on things that they can no longer control.
The real estate roller coaster. Another really good example, right? What happens when that appraisal just happens to come in low, guys? Like,
that's what I was
oh
gonna
man,
say.
it's like it's panic. It's, oh my goodness. It's like loan officers and real estate agents, like, oh my gosh. And guys, we have no control over that, right? Like, the appraiser is going to do their job. We've got to have a system and a process in place where if this happens, this is how we handle it. And that way we have a course of action. And not to get off topic here, but I think that has, focusing on the controllables, I believe, has a lot to do with having systems and processes in place. Because if you don't have if A happens and you don't have a system or a process, if A happens, then you've got to think on the fly and you've got like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do? Whereas if you've already got a predetermined next step when this happens, then there's no need for panic. There's no need for concern or overthinking the scenario. You go, oh, well, this happened. Cool. Well, then I do this. So Candido, I don't know, your take on that.
Yeah. So to me, all this starts with mindset, right? Controlling the controllables. I hadn't said it yet, so I wanted to make sure I said it. Controlling the controllables, it really starts with mindset. So when you have that shitty day, for example, last week, I was in our chat. I'm lucky enough to have you guys to lean on, right? If I'm having a bad day, if I need something, I have an accountability group, which are you guys, and we can kind of hash it out there. That's if I need to. Every single morning, I know I brought this up in the past. I start my day by moving, exercising, listening to a podcast. For me, that puts me in the right mindset to be creative. And when I was having that really bad day, it didn't linger on into 2 days because I kind of got out all that bad energy in the morning, right? So for me, it's super important to move in the morning, and that equals, okay, you know what? It puts me in the right mindset for being able to control, at least the best I can, the rest of my day. So for me, that's where it starts. And I know for you guys, you have different ways that you go about it as well. But that's where I think the entire being able to control really starts.
I agree. And I look at it from I don't want to say unique lens, but from a different lens. And so my days and my are input output based. And when I think about the output, those are the things those are the activities, those are the results, right? Like, oh, how many loans I close. I really don't have any control over that. If you're a real estate agent, how many transactions that you close in a month? Like, you can't wake up one day, at the first of the month and be like, well, I'm just going to close 10 transactions this month. And it just happens, right? So the output or results, we have little to no control over. So I really try not to focus on the output. The input is where we have tons of control. I can't control how many loans I close. I can't even control what volume I necessarily close, because I don't control what price point clients are buying at, right? Whether if I approve somebody, it's based on their finances. It's not based on something that I do. And so the input, though, is I do control how many phone calls that I make on a daily or weekly basis to build relationships. I control how much social media content that I proactively put out onto social media to raise awareness on my brand and make connections. I control how many events that I attend. I control how many people I walk up to at those events and start conversations. These are all activities that I have 100% direct control over. And so those are really what I've tried to train myself to focus on. But it's a daily battle. It's something that it's really easy to get focused on the results, especially in the current market where the results for everyone may not be coming, right? You know, if you're out there and you're not closing the amount of business that you want to close, it's really easy to focus on the results or the lack thereof, instead of turning your focus and really honing in on what activities can I implement that will result in the output that I'm after. Mark.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I love that. And I was actually going to bring Mark into this because Mark actually brought up a good point earlier. He was actually doing those actions. He was going ahead and making those phone calls. But if your head isn't in it and you're just dialing just to dial without that purpose behind it, then, you know, that needs to be something that you have a better grasp on, because just dialing just to go ahead and reach those numbers is one thing, but actually trying to create, engage, and set yourself up for those successful conversations. That's where I think the money is made. Mark, you want to kind of expand on that?
Yeah, actually, I'll expand a little bit on what Sean said too. But for sure, the reason that I was in that rut, the reason why I was just going through the motions was it was kind of getting beat down, you know, by the market a little bit. I felt mentally beat down and unable to recognize that in time, or unable to pull myself out of it. I just kind of went through those motions. However, you know, I don't know. It's kind of a mental decision you have to make. But I was talking to a friend who's also a loan officer, and it was just the topic of the conversation was business is hard, right? Sometimes business is easy. Sometimes it just flows in. Sometimes business is hard, and just focusing on what you can control and doing the work. The person I was talking to was doing that a lot better than I was. And that person is also closing a lot more deals than I am right now. And it's that person is not a better loan officer than me, but they go through the motion. They were not just going through the motions. They were clocking in and trying to get it going, and having a positive mindset,
Right.
focusing on what they can control. They're bringing in a lot more business than I am right now because of that. So I definitely wanted to bring that to the table as well.
The intentionality is critical there, right? Like I just put this up on the screen, right? Like it's not just the action that we take, right? It's you know, it's not just checking a box, but it's intentional action. And then the value is important, because if we're not providing value, then the recipient of our action is not likely going to resonate. It's not going to be relevant for them. So action plus intention sprinkled with some value, I think, is what really generates results. And so if you're not closing the type of business that you want, whether you're an agent and you're a listing agent and you don't have enough appointments, or maybe you're a buyer's agent and you don't have enough buyers in your pipeline, or you're a loan officer and you're just not getting the results that you want. I don't know. I take a step back and look at what actions am I proactively doing? What is my mindset? To take a point off of you, Candido, what is my mindset? Am I doing these actions just to check a box, just to say that I did them? Or am I going into these with specific intention, with excitement? If you're on the phone with somebody and you're not smiling, you're down and out, like, you can't fake that. It will come across over the phone and in person. So you've got to be genuinely excited for the activities that you're doing. Candido, what are some activities that you focus on that are proactive, that you have control over, that allows you to impact the results that follow?
Oh, absolutely. And actually, just one quick follow up to what you were saying, Sean. If you're not bringing value to an agent, to a conversation, to a client, then just assume that that person is going to go elsewhere to get value, right? You could be in danger of losing that referral partner, that client. So, I don't want to just hop over that, because I think that is a massive, massive thing that you said right there. As far as some of the things that I try and bring to the table, look, another thing that you had said, Sean, people feel when you aren't feeling it. So every time that I'm making a phone call, it's something I learned early on in my career. I stand up. I stand up, which isn't very high because I'm not very tall,
Get the blood
but
flowing, all
I
3 feet of it.
I stand up. I'm on my AirPods and I'm walking around. I'm always trying to smile, and I think that the person on the other side of the call really feels that, because that's where my passion is able to come out. Right now, I am standing. I think it makes a huge difference. And smile when you dot. As far as some of the other things, I'm constantly trying to bring that and show that with my content that I'm creating for social, and even with meeting clients and realtors and referral partners alike. So, a big portion of my business is trying to go into some of these networking groups. I try to be Captain Positivity. There's always someone ready to beat you down. Oh yeah, wow, the market really sucks. Well, yeah, you know what? Guess what? The Fed just said this. It looks like it might be starting to turn. I always try and bring the positivity, because you know what? There's plenty of other places that people can go for a negative reaction, a negative story, a negative headline. So what I can bring to the table every single day and every single time, I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm going to have a smile on my face. I'm going to make sure that I'm showing up and be there positively. So that way, that's what people will remember about me.
Yeah. So
Go ahead, Mark.
yeah. So I love the positivity angle, and we just kind of close the door on the mental aspect of things a little bit, I guess. But when constantly people are like, "Oh man, rates are so high right now. Oh, the market's terrible. Oh, this. Oh, that." My favorite response right now, which gets conversation started, is yeah, there is a lot of really unique opportunities in the market right now. And that always makes them go, what do you mean? Right? And then you go into how you can get sellers to pay your closing costs, how
Yeah.
you can get a house right now at a fair price where you won't be able to in, let's say, a year and a half when rates start to go down. And you start to have that conversation and you frame it in a way that there are some very unique buying opportunities out there right now. It really gets a good conversation started, and I highly recommend doing that. Sorry I cut you off, Sean. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Actually, that's perfect segue, because you and Candido are both talking about the same thing, and an idea just popped into my head, and it's something that I know, but you guys really just brought it to the forefront. So talking about what we have control over, talking about we run into a lot of people that are, oh, negative this, negative that, the sky is falling. And one huge aspect that we absolutely have 100% control over is who we spend time with, who we have around us. You know, and for those of you who haven't heard this, this is a common phrase that, you know, we kick around a lot, but we're the culmination of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And if we're spending time around people that are constantly negative, talking, you know, negative self-talk, talking poorly about what's going on in the market, you know, other loan officers like, oh, the rates are horrible, the market sucks, I can't do that, then we're absolutely going to start to subconsciously adapt some of that mindset. And so taking stock of who you spend time with and how their mindset, how they approach the market, what their mindset is, that is one of the biggest controllable aspects that I believe that we can really influence, which ultimately will have a massive impact on our success in our business down the road.
There is all kinds of truth to that.
Drop the
Co-sign on
mic.
that 100%.
Yep.
Awesome. Guys, I think we hit all the points on this one. I think this was a great one. Really excited we got to talk about this today. I want to say thank you to everybody that tuned in today for the Relo Show. We are here every Tuesday at noon Eastern, Candido? I don't know. Can you verify that? Can you reach out to
100%? It's
time?
noon o'clock.
Noon Eastern, 11 o'clock Central. We're here for you guys every single week on Tuesday. Thanks so much for joining us. For Candido, Mark, and myself, have a phenomenal rest of your week. Thanks so much. Take care.
Bye, everyone.